Sorry for the delay. Needed the lightning to clear out. Thought about doing the studio show. My wife's like, no, everybody wants to walk and talk. And I hope Sutherland understood that there would be days like this when, I know that they would because they're Arkansas people. And I thank them for sponsoring the walk and talk. If you need a Barndominium or a barn, a hunting lodge, garage, check out our friends at Sutherlands. All your home and garden needs. 1-800-66-BARNS. Get a free estimate there, or www.sutherlands.com. 6 locations in Arkansas. Arkansas people who are probably just as ticked, as I said last week, as you are right now. After Arkansas lost 32-31 to Memphis, another G5 loss, another disappointing showing, another letdown week that got to you. You go up 18 points in this one and you lose the game. Only score 3 points on offense. How many times did you get into the backfield in the second half? How many times did you get into the offensive backfield and didn't make a play? This defense just has no, I don't know what's missing from them, but they just play so soft. And there are guys with talent, and that's not about everybody on defense, but it takes 11. It takes 11, and it's just not getting through. This is a really bad loss for Sam Pittman. For a guy that's on every single hot seat list, this is not the kind of game that you can lose. And this isn't about finances. It's not about personnel. This is about not showing up. It's about a culture issue. It's about not getting over a loss. I spoke at the Fort Smith Razorback Club the other day, and I said, you know, this is before the Ole Miss game, the Friday before. Arkansas could go 8-4, they could go 4-8. Well, that seems impossible. How? Well, you lose the Ole Miss game, you have a hangover the next week against Memphis, then you got Notre Dame in town, and then you're on the road to Knoxville. How does that look? How does that look for players that haven't been around each other long, that have a fairly shallow relationship overall? Everything's great, it's a honeymoon, until things aren't going right, and you can see things going a different way. And I know the players hurt, and somebody called me last week and said, hey, Trey, you know, these guys hurt more than anybody. Somebody I respect and love, but that's, you can't mitigate how the fans feel, how the people that get up and plan their whole weekend and their whole Saturday and their whole off season, like just following this team, dying to know more. I tell my staff all the time, like, just because you're around it all the time, you get a little desensitized. But fans can't get enough of this stuff. It's important to them, and it's important to this state. And here we are, 2-2. And I said before the game, I picked Arkansas to win this 38-28, which should have been about what they won by. And we can talk about penalties and things like that. You can't expect to get all the calls on the road. You're going to get some crap calls, and Arkansas definitely got it a couple of times. The Omega Blake holding penalty on Taylor Green's long run, the pass interference right before half, those were terrible calls. That kind of stuff happens on the road. It just does. But you have to overcome that kind of stuff. It's a really bad look for this defense and for Sam Pittman and for Hunter Yurachek, who made these ridiculous comments that didn't fall. It's not that the comments were ridiculous. The comments weren't the problem. It's what he didn't say after the comments that matter. Yeah, we can't compete in the SEC, or we can't compete for a national championship. We're not set up for that. We are, compete in the SEC. This is paraphrasing. I'll be honest with you, can't compete for a national championship. But what was missing is, and here's what we're going to do to fix it. Here's the plan to fix it. And I don't blame people for not just rushing and jumping on board to support a product that they just are frustrated with. And I felt like Arkansas missed the boat on 2021, not capitalizing on that. You got other places like Ole Miss setting up the Rebel Grove, which I believe is started by fans mostly. Setting things up, getting things going, embracing it. But this is not about finances here. That the personnel for Memphis and Arkansas is woefully different. That defense is undersized, but you know what? Pretty tenacious. Have a lot of want. And for the game to end like it did, it should never have come down to a fumble. It should never have come down to that situation. And some of the same things. And Taylor Green has been fantastic this year, and it's hard to come down when a guy has played so well. But also some of the things that pop up, with him are very familiar. That interception he threw when Arkansas was in scoring territory, I can't remember what quarter, it was in the second half. But you've got a guy over the middle of the field, Jaylen Brown, who is wide open, right past the marker. And I believe maybe 2 other guys that are getting open, and you throw it into coverage and you get picked off. But losing the turnover battle and giving up 290 freaking rushing yards is not a recipe for victory against any program, especially on the road. Penalties, turnovers, special teams, injuries wasn't really a key factor, although I think Xavier Sori's got to be dealing with a little bit of something. And Sam Pittman kind of said something like that in the press conference afterwards. Guys, I've got trips lined up to Knoxville, Baton Rouge, Austin. I'm booked, non-refundables. So, as I said when I booked those trips, like, I signed up for something. So, just going to enjoy the trips, I guess. But and you know, like, things happen in college football. Stuff is crazy, and it's easy after a win to be just really down on them and frustrated and mad. And I get all of that because I feel all of those same things. I mean, having to wait for this lightning to pass and the rain to stop so I could do because I was going to do the studio show, but it gave me a little time to think about it, and so it's maybe not as reactionary as the walk and talk normally is. But man, it's hard to envision them just turning things around and having a bunch of success all of a sudden. You go up 18 points, and I've said this year after year with this team. Sometimes when things happen and they get up to a big, it happened against Arkansas State too when they went up like 28-7. And then Taylor threw, back-to-back picks. This team sometimes plays like they have won the game when there's so much more football left to play. And I know they're hurting, and I know they're frustrated. I get it, and I know that they pour. I think about it all the time, all the work that goes into football, and you're just promised 12 games. You've got all that transfer portal stuff that these coaches and these athletes have to deal with. The recruiting calendar obviously is weird. You got signing day in December when most people sign. You've got the winter training cycle, spring football, summer training cycle, fall camp. It's a lot of work to go into what is really the amount of work that goes into preparing for such a small amount of opportunities. And that's why in football, losses just hurt more than any other sport, because a loss means a lot more. One loss in football is like 3 losses in basketball. Guys, I don't know what else to say. This is not a very good look for Sam Pittman right now. It's not. You'd be hard-pressed to find anybody who's feeling good about that situation right now. I mean, I love Sam. I make no bones about it, and I have a job to do to talk about. And I've said before, I wish he has success. I hope he does. I like covering a winning team. I like good people winning games and having success. But, man, this is not a good look. It's just not. And you got Notre Dame coming in here in town, who's already lost 2 games. Again, things happen, but this defense, guys, is I didn't think that they would be good. Like it's amazing sometimes reading what fans say. Like the media told us that this defense was going to be this and that. Like I don't know anybody in the media. That is such a straw man argument. I know you want to make somebody hurt as much as you do, but nobody in the media thought this defense was going to be anything special. Nobody also there's a deer. Probably thought it was going to be as bad as it is. And it is really bad. The safeties just really struggle. The linebackers have not been what we thought. Hell, like if people want to say things like you were right or wrong about this, Trey, and get it accurate, I wasn't so sure the tight ends had enough. I thought, Rohan Jones was good, but tight ends have been great. And I thought the linebackers would be really good, and there's probably a team strength. That hadn't happened. How many times did they get into the backfield and just not make a play? The way the game ended, though, like even you just felt like, man, they might have a chance. They might have a chance even after fumbling the ball. Backup quarterback comes in. Backup quarterback. We don't like those guys. 3rd and 8. Everybody knows it's run up the middle. They're not going to throw the ball with that guy, and he carries half the team to a first down to ice the ball game. And that is the game in a nutshell. Fumbling right before, and I hate that for Mike Washington. Mike Washington I think is a good running back, but it should not come down to those types of moments. It's just an utter collapse over and over again. The interception that Taylor threw when they're in scoring position. That fumble, obviously. Taking that huge sack that knocks you out of field goal range, which happened all the time last year. I mean, why can't we just have nice things like, you beat Ole Miss in that game. You probably carry a little bit more energy, momentum, belief into this game. You start off 4-0. You're nationally ranked. It's right. I know it's easy to say, and I know a lot of hard damn work goes into it. Trust me, I do. But it's just right there. And Arkansas fans haven't had that. Must let one slip, but Arkansas fans just haven't had that in so long. Just a little bit of juice, Like I said, there's not anybody who's happy right now, who's feeling good about the football program, who doesn't feel like it's just a kind of a bunch of the same old, same old. Ton of roster turnover with this team. I do think the offensive line has improved dramatically, even though they really struggled in this one in the run game. I mean, they did. And then it kind of felt like when Arkansas had to have it, they're marching again. And I don't know, just where is that sometimes? I don't know. I think they've got a good enough quarterback most of the time. Talon has his lapses, obviously. We can't expect perfection or anything like that. But I think they've got a good enough quarterback, good enough running backs, good enough tight ends, good enough wide receivers, good enough offensive line. The defense is just, like, even with the, only putting up 3 points, way too many yards to only produce 3 points also. But again, we saw the reasons why. Taking sacks on third down, turning the ball over. You can't lose the penalty battle. It's special teams again, like a couple penalties on special teams. Luckily, Devin Bale's a stud. You got some guys that are studs. Your punter is really good. Taylor Green's a stud. He really is. And in most instances, like, that's enough points. Houston Nutt used to always say, we hold them to 27 points, we win the game. And that's what you should expect out of your defense. It wasn't like special teams errors giving up 32 points. It wasn't the offense. I know Taylor threw a pick, but that was, they had a long way to go. And you're gonna have things go wrong as far as officials are concerned. It's gonna happen when you're on the road. Just all very familiar. That's the problem. It's just like very, very familiar. A lot of these things that happen. And I hate it for Sam. I hate it for everybody. I hate it for this whole state. That Razorback is a symbol for this whole state. And I've said that before, but I believe that. It's not just about University of Arkansas. Most Arkansas fans probably didn't go to the University of Arkansas. I know that for a fact that they didn't. The Razorback is a symbol for this whole state. People, their Saturdays revolve how they start their week a lot of times. And I tell my guys on staff all the time, like, you may get desensitized on this or feel like this story doesn't need to be written, but the diehard Razorback fan can't get enough of it. They want more. They want all the information that they can get because people care. And the same people that say, I'm done, I'm never watching a game, are going to be right back there watching a game. Anyway, I don't know what else there is to say, but we'll end it with this. I appreciate the folks at Sutherlands for sponsoring the Walk and Talk, getting us back out on the road for all these games that are coming up. Obviously, we didn't travel to this one because of the press box and the construction and everything, but we'll be in Knoxville and we'll be in Baton Rouge and we'll be in Austin. As I said, I signed up for something when I did all that, so we're just going to enjoy those trips the best we can. All right, everybody, that's it. The Walk and Talk. Visit our friends at Sutherland's, 1-800-66-BARNS. Get your Barndominium. Not a good look. Not a good situation. Nobody's happy. Nobody should be happy. This has been Trey Biddy with Hog Sports, signing off. We'll catch you next time.